Breaking news out of the NFL. A top defensive star has just hit the open market. The kind of player who can instantly transform a team. And now, Raider Nation, it's time to ask, should Las Vegas make a move? Stay with us, because what's coming next could reshape the Raiders' future. Before we jump into the latest updates, make sure to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss breaking Raiders news. Let's get into it. Jaire Alexander, one of the top cornerbacks in the entire NFL, has officially been released. That's right. The Green Bay Packers just let go of a player many believe is a top 5, even top 3 corner in the league. Now the question is simple. Should the Las Vegas Raiders go after him? Let's be honest, the Raiders' secondary isn't exactly scary right now. There's potential, sure, but it's also full of question marks. At the moment, Darian Porter, a rookie 3rd-round pick, is expected to start. Eric Stokes, who was teammates with Alexander in Green Bay, is also in the mix. But let's not kid ourselves. Jaire Alexander is a different beast. He's experienced, battle-tested, and still in his prime. Unlike some corners who only shine in one system, Alexander can do it all. Man coverage, zone, cover 3. You name it. He's fast, aggressive, and a strong tackler, too. And while Porter has upside and Stokes might still bounce back, neither has proven what Alexander has. If the Raiders are serious about building a defense that can win now, this could be the kind of bold move that changes everything. Let's face it, the Raiders' secondary is filled with question marks. And that uncertainty makes a veteran like Jaire Alexander even more tempting. Take Eric Stokes, for example. Over the last 2 seasons, his playing time has dropped. He hasn't looked like the same guy we saw in his rookie year. Can he bounce back in Vegas? Maybe. But that's a big maybe. Then there's Jaire Bennett. He's entering year 3, and sure, there have been flashes of potential. But flashes don't win games. Consistency does. Can he grow in this new defensive scheme? That's still unknown. Lonnie Johnson Jr. is currently projected to play inside the slot. He's got some experience, but can he hold up over a full season against elite receivers? Then come the young names, Cameron Richardson, a rookie 4th-rounder. John Humphrey and Mello Dotson, both undrafted. These guys might have upside, but they're unproven. You can't bet a playoff push on hope. Even Darnay Holmes is getting first-team reps. But is that because he's earned it, or because there's just not enough depth? That's the core issue. This secondary lacks a clear leader. No star. No lockdown guy you can count on week after week. That's why someone like Jaire Alexander becomes so important. He's not a trade piece. He's a free agent. You don't need to give up a draft pick. He's just there. Yes, he's dealt with some injuries, and that's a fair concern. The Raiders have avoided players like Nate Hobbs for similar reasons, but the reward here might outweigh the risk. A talent like Alexander doesn't hit the market often, and if you're Las Vegas and you want to compete now, this could be your chance to fix the weakest part of your defense. There's one thing the Raiders have made very clear. They want players who can stay on the field. You could be the most talented corner in the league, but if you're spending more time in recovery than on the turf, the Raiders might pass. That's where someone like Jaire Bennett comes in. He may not be elite yet, but if he's healthy and available for all 17 games, that gives him a real edge. The same logic applies to Jaire Alexander. Yes, he's a star. Yes, he changes a defense. But his injury history raises questions, and the Raiders have been burned by that before. Now, there's been some fantasy talk about bringing in another big name like Jalen Ramsey, but let's be real. That's not the focus. Las Vegas doesn't need flashy dreams. They need reliable defenders who can deliver week after week. They've got the salary cap space. That's not the issue. The question is how they choose to spend it, and whether that money goes to proven, durable pieces or long-shot bets. Right now, this defense has too many unknowns. Even beyond the secondary, the linebacker unit has its own concerns. Devin White and Elandon Roberts are both experienced, but let's be honest, their best days might be behind them. White came into the league young and blazing fast, But speed fades, and explosiveness doesn't last forever. He's still athletic, sure, but he's not the same game-changer he once was. Elandon Roberts has looked solid in camp, and reports say he could see full-time snaps. But the depth behind him is razor-thin. The truth is, the Raiders need more than scheme. They need players who are consistent, healthy, and ready to compete from day one. No more gambling on potential. No more hoping guys figure it out. If Las Vegas wants to build a defense that holds up in big moments, they'll have to act decisively, and soon. The Raiders' defense still feels like a puzzle with a few missing pieces. And one of those pieces might be at linebacker. Yes, Elandon Roberts and Devin White are on the roster. Yes, they bring leadership and experience. But the truth is, they're closer to the back end of their careers than the prime of them. So what's the solution? It's time for the Raiders to think younger and faster. They already took steps in that direction. Cody Lindenberg came in this year, Tommy Eichenberg arrived last season, and now there's Amari Gaynor, a player who's quietly turning heads and could become a breakout name for this defense. Gaynor plays with urgency, speed, and attitude. He might not have a big name yet, but he looks like someone who could become a real weapon in this linebacker unit. Still, the coaching staff can't wait forever for young guys to figure it out. There's a fine balance between developing talent and fielding a defense that can win right now. The challenge? Managing all of that within the salary cap. The Raiders have money, but every dollar counts, especially with contracts like Max Crosby's and Christian Wilkins growing each year. Colton Miller could be due for a new deal. And if Brock Bowers becomes the star everyone expects, he'll command top-tier money in the near future. Even Malcolm Kuntz could break out and demand a massive extension, if he continues rising. This is why the front office has to think 2 steps ahead, not just about today's roster, but also about tomorrow's price tags. So while bringing in another veteran linebacker might help short-term, the long-term strategy has to be about building around youth, without blowing the budget. The pieces are there. Now it's up to the Raiders to put them together the right way. Just imagine this defense with a shutdown duo like Jaire Alexander and Jalen Ramsey locking down the corners. Add a steady veteran like Jermaine Pratt at linebacker, and suddenly the Raiders wouldn't just be better, they'd be dangerous. Sure, some of those names might be out of reach, but thinking big is what great teams do. Still, the focus can't only be on defense. One of the most overlooked parts of this Raiders squad is the offensive line, especially at center. All eyes are now on Jackson Powers Johnson, and he's stepping into a huge role. Some may doubt whether he's ready. Others want to compare him to centers across the league. But here's the truth. Jackson is a natural leader and plays with the kind of power and awareness that the Raiders need in the trenches. Forget the outside rankings. Watch the tape. When Powers Johnson lined up at center, he moved defenders, protected the quarterback, and brought toughness right up the middle. That's exactly what this offense has lacked in recent years. He split snaps between guard and center last season, and while that limited his consistency, it also proved something. This guy can adapt. And now, with a full offseason focused on one position, the potential is sky high. Let's not forget, a strong offensive line can control a game. It sets the tone, opens up the run, and gives your quarterback time to breathe. That's where Jackson's impact will show up the most. Not in rankings, but in wins. The Raiders aren't just looking for a good center. They're building a new identity, one that starts in the trenches. And Jackson Powers Johnson might just be the one snapping that identity into place. Let's cut through the noise. Jackson Powers Johnson isn't just good. He might be the best young lineman the Raiders have ever drafted. You can argue rankings all day long, but turn on the tape. This guy finishes plays like a bouncer throwing people out the club. There's a rare strength to his game. He doesn't just block, he bullies defenders. His footwork? Polished. His awareness? Off the charts. This isn't hype. This is dominance. And while fans of other teams might brag about their picks, let's be honest, Raiders fans got the one they really wanted. Pittsburgh might have grabbed a solid player in Zach Frazier, but it was Jackson the league had its eyes on. And when the Raiders called his name, Everyone else had to settle. What makes Jackson stand out isn't just the raw talent, it's the attitude. He plays angry, he plays smart, and he fits perfectly with a team that's trying to build an identity around grit, toughness, and control in the trenches. Raiders football has always been about setting a tone early. Smashmouth, physical, and relentless. Jackson brings all of that and more. If he develops the way the coaches expect, this offensive line could become a strength for the first time in years. We're not talking about being decent. We're talking about the kind of presence that forces defenses to game plan around one man in the middle of the line. So, forget the outside rankings. Forget the comparisons. What matters now is that the Raiders have a centerpiece on the offensive line, someone who can anchor this unit for the next decade. And if he continues on this path, don't be surprised when Jackson Powers Johnson isn't just mentioned among the best. He becomes the standard. Let's be real, not every draft pick turns into gold. And no example hits harder for Raiders fans than Damon Arnette. He was supposed to be a key piece in our secondary, a first-round pick with swagger and potential. But instead of locking down receivers, he spiraled into headlines for all the wrong reasons. Arrests, poor decisions, off-field distractions. It was clear he wasn't ready for the responsibility that came with the NFL. Raiders Nation doesn't forget. We wanted a corner who'd fight every snap. Instead, we got a guy who never truly bought in. It stung, not just because he failed, but because we used a top pick to get him. But here's the twist. Now, after years away from the league, Arnette's trying to claw his way back. He's played in smaller leagues, stayed on the field, made plays, and kept his name alive. That takes a different kind of toughness, the kind that doesn't show up on a scouting report. Does he deserve another shot? That's up for debate. For many Raiders fans, the damage is done, but others believe in second chances, that sometimes people grow when they fall hard enough. Still, let's be honest, this isn't just about Damon. It's a lesson for the whole organization. Drafting talent isn't just about size, speed, or tape. It's about finding players who are mentally locked in, players who live and breathe football, players like Jackson Powers Johnson. The past can't be changed. But if the Raiders want to build something real, a tough, disciplined team that wins the right way, they've got to learn from every miss just as much as they celebrate every hit. Arnette may or may not find his way back. But for the Raiders, the focus needs to stay forward. The only thing that matters now is who's ready to wear silver and black and earn it.